Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of the InspirAfrica official. I'm Nakash. I trust you've had a wonderful week so far. Today, we've been following some extraordinary developments coming out of Zambia. And I must say, the story we're about to share with you is one that raises profound questions about power, wealth, and accountability in modern Africa. Our lead story today: how Edgar Lungu became a billionaire without starting a business. The hidden empire. Picture this. A lawyer enters the highest office in the land with declared assets of approximately 2.5 million kwacha. Just 16 months later, that same man's net worth has multiplied nearly tenfold to 23.7 million kwacha. Within 7 years of his presidency, observers estimate his wealth at a staggering $400 million, placing him among the richest individuals not just in Zambia, but across the entire African continent. How does a public servant on a presidential salary of 414,000 kwacha per year achieve such spectacular financial growth? What businesses did he build? What innovations did he create? What markets did he conquer? The answer, it seems, is none. No manufacturing plants. No technology startups. No mining ventures bearing his name. Just a meteoric rise in wealth that coincided perfectly with his tenure in State House. Was this simply exceptional financial acumen? Strategic investments made at the perfect moment? Or does this story reveal something darker about the machinery of power, where state contracts flow like rivers to associates, where land changes hands in luxury estates across borders, where family members acquire multi-million-dollar properties with income that doesn't add up? Today, as properties worth millions are seized, as family members face courts unable to explain their sudden fortunes, as international investigations connect luxury Gulf estates in foreign kingdoms to construction contracts in Zambia, we must ask, how did Edgar Lungu become a billionaire without starting a business? And what does this hidden empire tell us about governance in Africa today? The revelation came to light through a series of asset declarations that painted a stunning picture of wealth accumulation. In 2015, when Edgar Lungu first assumed the presidency following the death of Michael Sata, his declared net worth stood at approximately $2.5 million. By mid-2016, ahead of the general elections just 16 months later, his asset declaration showed his net worth had increased to $23.7 million, a multiplication of 9.48 times in just over a year. The chronology is striking. Born on November 11, 1956, in Ndola, Lungu graduated with a law degree from the University of Zambia in 1981 and joined the law firm Andrea Massey and Company. He later entered politics, eventually becoming Secretary General of the Patriotic Front under President Michael Sata. When Sata died on October 28, 2014, Lungu emerged as the party's candidate in the presidential by-election and narrowly won, taking office on January 25, 2015. He would serve until August 2021, when he lost the general election to opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema. But it was what happened during those 6.5 years that raised eyebrows across the nation. By the end of December 2017, observers estimated President Lungu had moved to become the second richest person in Zambia with a net worth of around $400 million. This was a transformation that political analyst Mike Mulangoti found deeply troubling, especially when contrasted with the modest lifestyle of Zambia's founding father, Kenneth Kaunda, who served for 27 years. The suspicions weren't just about declared wealth. In August 2019, the Zambian Financial Intelligence Center drafted a confidential memo alleging that Lungu had accumulated wealth through corrupt activities. The memo, however, was mysteriously not sent to international counterparts until December 2021, 4 months after Lungu had already lost power. The allegations extended beyond Zambia's borders. The memo raised concerns about construction magnate Michelo Shikantu, whose company Inyatsi Road Construction had obtained a number of road construction contracts and in turn offered bribes in the form of land and monetary gifts to high-profile individuals. Lungu was allegedly one of the beneficiaries, with Shikantu reportedly buying him a plot of land at a luxury Gulf estate in Eswatini in 2018. After losing the 2021 election, Lungu initially retired from politics. But the new administration under President Hichilema launched investigations into alleged corruption during the previous regime. In mid-2023, police arrested Lungu's son and daughter-in-law over allegedly tainted cash and property worth roughly $5 million. Shortly before that, the state seized 20 properties it claimed were illegally obtained by the Lungu family. In June 2024, Lungu's wife was arrested alongside one of her daughters in connection with several properties worth more than $2 million. The timeline was clear: modest beginnings, extraordinary enrichment during presidency, and now, a family empire under siege. The most damning evidence came not from investigators alone, but from the inability of the Lungu family to explain their sudden wealth. In a recent court ruling, one of Lungu's daughters, Chieso, forfeited more than $9 million worth of assets to the state. Among the assets forfeited was Crest Lodge in the affluent Ibex Hills suburb of Lusaka, along with 3 flats, 2 farms with a high-cost house, and 4 chicken runs in the state lodge area worth about $9.3 million. Chieso, who was only admitted to the bar as a lawyer in 2018, could not explain how she acquired these properties. The pattern repeated with another daughter. Tassila Lungu, who is equally in court for being in possession of assets suspected to be proceeds of crime, had key findings from investigations showing that her earnings as a counselor from 2016 to 2021 amounted to less than $18,000 per year. Yet she owned properties worth millions. When former First Lady Esther Nyawa Lungu appeared in court, her assertion that her husband, former President Edgar Lungu, had financed the construction of flats was dismissed due to the absence of supporting documentation. The court emphasized the importance of proper documentation in substantiating claims of wealth, stating that the absence of credible evidence would not be tolerated in such cases. The government's position was equally unequivocal. Zambian Director of Public Prosecutions Gilbert Fairai warned that the wheels of recovering assets may appear grind slowly, but they will grind anyway. We are not oblivious to attacks and maneuvers to derail the fight against crime and asset recovery. The posture we take is to talk softly but always carry a very big stick. Political opponents were even more direct in their assessments. NDC leader Chishimba Kambwili declared, "Edgar Lungu has made so much money for himself and his family through dubious means, and is now among the richest presidents on the continent." Kambwili continued, "It is a crime if you have ill-gotten wealth, wealth that you cannot explain. You are a criminal. There is no way a person can declare that he is worth $2.5 million and 1 year later he is worth $23 million. That is a crime. So if the man became rich over 1 year, he should tell us how he became rich. Where did he get the money? What business did he do? How much does he earn per month?" The questions hung in the air, unanswered. Some sources attempted to trace the money. According to one investigation, Lungu allegedly benefited from a National Pension Fund Authority transaction involving the Kitwe Freedom Park shopping mall. The investigation claimed that when developers wanted to sell the project to NAPSA for $33 million, corrupt lawyers manipulated the process to receive transaction fees. The report alleged that Lungu, along with associates Louis Macho and Patrick Shemenda, shared this money, and noted, "The following month Lungu had to personally fly to Kitwe to launch the shopping mall, which is even named after him. It is called the Edgar Chagwa Lungu Shopping Mall." When confronted about his wealth during his presidency, Lungu's own defense was telling. At a provincial ruling party conference in Kabwe, President Lungu told supporters, "It is not being a Satanist to be wealthy. It is not being corrupt to be wealthy.
Te sambi ukulye bivino. Te bu satanist ukjikala bivino.
Bans feo tu kabila. It is not Satanism or a sin to eat well and live in luxury. That is what we all long for. So what I am saying is that we must give jobs and opportunities for people to make money decently and in a lawful manner." But critics pointed out that he never actually explained how he made his money. The Edgar Lungu wealth saga raises fundamental questions about governance, accountability, and the culture of impunity that has plagued African politics for generations. An International Monetary Fund report released in January 2023 found that corruption flourished to alarming levels under the Lungu regime. The 96-page report stated, for instance, enormous financial resources invested in infrastructure projects, such as road construction, provided avenues for corruption, especially in the award of tenders, where political connections allowed members of the elite to bend the rules and access to lucrative contracts. The IMF diagnostic concluded that corruption became particularly institutionalized during the 2016 to 2021 period. The political implications have been profound. When Lungu left office in 2021, Zambia was Africa's most indebted nation. His successor, Hakainde Hichilema, promised to clamp down on corruption that was believed to have spiraled out of control under Lungu. When he left office, Lungu, his cabinet and his family were plagued by scandals. But the prosecutions have not been without controversy. Emmanuel Mwamba, a spokesman for Lungu's Patriotic Front Party, accused the government of abusing the law, lamenting that properties in question were seized before investigations were finalized. The law enforcement agencies are seizing assets of people belonging to the Patriotic Front, to the family of the former president, just as a political witch hunt. Boniface Chimbe, executive director of the Southern African Center for the Constructive Resolution of Disputes, acknowledged the complexity. We hope they do not divide the country further, or at least it will not be seen as a continued wage of war between the incumbent president and the former president. Institutions be allowed to play their role, and that once everything has been done, that justice prevails. Critics have noted that while the current government has instituted arrests and investigations into alleged corrupt activities by leaders of the previous regime, they have not secured any convictions. The international dimension adds another layer of concern. The confidential memo from Zambia's Financial Intelligence Center to counterparts in Eswatini was drafted in August 2019, but not sent until December 2021, nearly 4 months after Lungu lost power. Maurice Nyambi, executive director of Transparency International Zambia, suspected political interference was to blame for the delay, calling it evidence of interference with state institutions. This speaks to a broader problem. How can financial crimes be investigated when the perpetrators control the very institutions meant to investigate them? The Lungu case is not unique in African politics. Across the continent, presidents and their families have left office with unexplained wealth while their countries remain mired in poverty. But what makes the Lungu case particularly instructive is the paper trail. The asset declarations that show the precise timeline of enrichment, the family members unable to account for properties worth millions, the cross-border transactions involving luxury estates. As Transparency International's Nyambi told investigators, corruption remains a dark stain on Edgar Lungu's legacy as president. Lungu announced his return to active politics on October 28, 2023, resuming leadership of the Patriotic Front. He told the BBC in May 2024, "I'm facing the consequences of returning to politics, and I'm ready for it." His party claims he is the target of a political witch hunt as he attempts a comeback. But for many Zambians, the question remains unanswered. How did a public servant become a billionaire without starting a business? Thank you so much for watching today's edition of InspirAfrica Official. The story of Edgar Lungu's unexplained wealth is more than just a Zambian story. It's an African story. It's a story about the price we pay when we allow our leaders to confuse public office with personal enrichment. It's a story about the institutions we must build and protect if we truly want prosperity for all, not just for those who hold the keys to the treasury. I want to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think should happen when leaders cannot explain their wealth? Should all African presidents be required to declare their assets publicly? How can we build systems that prevent this kind of accumulation in the first place? Drop your comments below. Let's have an honest conversation about leadership and accountability. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter, stories that shape our continent, stories that demand our attention. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and never stop asking questions. This is Nakash, and you've been watching InspirAfrica Official. See you next time.